Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's the 7th of March.
Good morning. It's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Ivan Magwene.
And me, Yvette Shimbusho.
Over the next hour, we'll bring you all the latest news, sports and business headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. And as usual, Yvette has the latest in business. Yvette, what do you have for us?
Well, Bourbon Coffee is thinking, or at least is in the process of opening another shop somewhere around the country. And that's just in business. Well, in lifestyle, because from now on I'm going to be taking over for Sherry, we're going to be having Dennis, the co-founder of Waka Fitness, coming into studio and talking to us about the Warriors Race Battle, which I think we should all participate in, because I'm sure it would be very fun. So it's just an obstacle course. Okay. And I'll tell you more about that later.
All right, Moses, it's been a weekend of sports.
Yeah.
What do you have for us right now?
Leicester City is running for something very special. After another win, where Arsenal and Tottenham drew, we can't wait to see how the big boys will keep on battling for this Premier League title, of which everyone is open to grab it. So, I'll tell you more in details on how the weekend in Premier League was, and also local news also are up for grabs.
All right, well, all that and more is to come, but first, Rise and Shine, story of the day. Welcome back to Rise and Shine, story of the day with me, Ivan Magwene. Nearly 6 years since South Sudan applied to join the East African community, they finally got to be cleared. For South Sudan, it has been a long journey. To the East African community, it has been all about formality. With South Sudanese acceptance, the now 6 nations bloc's market size has now grown to 162 million people, up from 145.5 million. Already, the world's youngest nation has been active in pushing for Northern Corridor projects, making its admission to the bloc a milestone that should boost the region's integration ambitions. Many have been asking, what does South Sudan bring on the table? Well, we'll open up the discussion, and to help me shed more light are my colleagues Yvette Shumbusho and Moses Wirikunzira. Yvette.
Yes.
And Moses.
Yes.
This is a country, of course, it's the youngest country we have in the East African region and the world, I would say.
Okay.
4 years just after independence, these people, the country went on and the people to say we want to join the East African community. We are now 6 members.
Yep.
But the question, of course, as asked over there, what does South Sudan bring on the table? What is it going to benefit? What are we going to benefit from South Sudan? Where do we see South Sudan bringing transformation in the East African community? But first, I want to know how you welcomed the news and what was your own, general view of South Sudan joining the East African community so far?
Well, I think it's great news, of course. We're all Africans.
Yeah.
If, in fact, we should all have just one block, and that's the whole of Africa. But that's not really doable at the moment. So we'll just stick to the East African bloc. And I think it's great news. Also because, South Sudanese are found these days within East Africa, especially in Kenya. And, even a lot of the Kenyans, like some of them, originate from South Sudan. Now, there's a connection between the Luos and the South Sudanese. So there's that connection. There's some that come from Uganda. They're right in the border with Uganda. And there's some that are even coming into Rwanda bit by bit, one by one. And I think it's great. It's only fair that we include them when the fact that they've even asked, So it's only fair that we actually accept and let us all integrate and as a unit. So yeah, it's great.
Now, Moses, this is a country, of course, that has, even after 4 years from getting its independence, it has been torn apart by war, tribalism, famine. It is kind of, it's still a country that is struggling. Do you think maybe this is joining the East African community could be the time that we see South Sudan transforming into the country that every East African desires to have?
For sure and definitely, because South Sudan has a lot of history that it shares with some of the countries in East African community. Because let's face it, they had tragedy, they had so many problems of war, a kind of genocide happening in the entire Sudan, and the fact that they want to be away from the northern Sudan, you see, that makes them want to be independent, and also not only independent politically, but also economically and also socially. So they want to socialize with the people who have peace, security, and also who have already started, a perfect way of doing business, so that the people of South Sudan can just try to benefit from what is it the other countries in East Africa are already having on a table, which is like common market, and all other activities that is happening within the East African community. And for me as a Rwandan, I always dream to see South Sudan to be peacefully, because we all share, we are all people, we are all human beings. But they've, the problem they've been facing throughout has been always a big problem. But now that shows the president who is actually ready to build the country to an extreme, to actually overachieve, the reality that people could actually see. That could be possibly achieved. Like when you see Rwanda, when after we went out of genocide, you see we try to get hands with different communities, different blocks, so that we can actually enhance ourselves through the community, politically, economically, and also educationally wise. There's so many benefits that South Sudan would benefit from East African community. We also benefit a lot because we learn a lot from them, and they also learn a lot from us. So that is going to be a win-win situation.
And also not considering the fact that South Sudan has oil, and God knows how many other kinds of minerals that we have yet to discover. So I think it would be a great, and given the fact that Kenya is just, and Tanzania are just at the port, on the coast actually, they're able to, give all the resources, import all the resources that are needed in order for us to drill that oil and maybe even benefit from all of this.
And part of what South Sudan actually looks out to maybe is also constructing a pipeline for their oil.
Yep.
But then, Yvette, I have a question on that same issue. Economically, first, one thing that I've learned from Rwanda's story is that even before Rwanda joined the East African community, they had a process of transition of building structures, the leadership structures, the economical structures, so that even their bargaining power on the table in the East African community could be even higher. Because now Rwanda does not stand like a baby on the East African community. It's rather a very grown nation, fastest growing economy in Africa, possesses as a threat to any other kind of nation, right? In terms of the economical factor, the leadership structures. But this is something that South Sudan lacks.
Yeah.
First of all, it's already now that they have an interim government that has signed a peace agreement with the opposition. It's just a new government. They're still struggling. It's a war-torn area. Tribalism is going on. Economically, they're going through a lot because, with even the oil, it has not been beneficial because of the war and everything. So do you think actually South Sudan stands to gain from this, or we find ourselves overpowering South Sudan on the bargaining table because they don't have yet all those structures that everyone requires to sit on that same table to make a very mutual agreement as any other East African community nation?
Well, I mean, yes, we could probably have the upper hand when negotiating compared to Sudan. I mean, us, the East African community, and South Sudan, we could definitely have the upper hand because we have a lot of things in place in terms of economic structures and infrastructure, and I mean, when it comes to leadership as well. But the thing is, we're not looking for just perfect nations because we're all struggling. I mean, look at Burundi. It was accepted in the East African community, but what did it have to offer? There was not much on the table in Burundi compared to when Rwanda actually went on board, So as you can see, since they were able to even allow Burundi to come on board, not so much to offer, I would feel like they should also allow South Sudan, because we're not looking at now. And that's one thing I like about integration. It's not about right now. What do you have to offer now? But what is the potential? What is the future? What does the future look like? So that so since we have oil, and actually South Sudan has oil, and with the help of the East African community, we could be able to help them in terms of leadership structures and even help them with establishing economic infrastructure and everything that is needed. It could actually be a very powerful country. It could be a country that a lot of these other African countries would be dependent on. So let's not look at now. Now they might not offer so much, but it's what is in the future. And you know, that's what we're always working towards. I mean, we have Vision 2020, Kenya has Vision 2030. Yes. I mean, all these people have 2040. Has 2040, Burundi will still figure out. But yes, so we're looking into the future, and it's an integration. I mean, integration is like we're coming as a family. We're helping each other. Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania were gracious enough to accept Rwanda and Burundi, and they've helped us, you know. We're all been able to integrate perfectly and peacefully. And so let's let somebody else also come in and, you know.
Well, I love the spirit out there, even, you know, kind of, you know, which I think is promising. But of course, part of what I can't let go is the fact that even during the East African Community Summit that happened last Wednesday in Arusha, the 17th, actually chaired by His Excellency Magufuli Pombe, he, of course, emphasized the fact that, you know, we actually have a new East African secretary who's from Burundi. And part of one thing that, of course, was so interesting was the introduction of the e-passport. Part of what we're going to see next year is people traveling on the East African passport. How do you feel?
That is amazing. You know, that's what I'm saying. You know, this East African community is actually going to be one of the most powerful blocs in African continent.
I think so too.
In the near future, because when you look at the South African, Southern African community and the West African community, you see, there are always those kind of war stuff, you know. But when you look at the East African community, we are trying to structure the security-wise and of course the economical-wise. But when you look at you know, the fact that you can travel all over East Africa with the one passport, that means, you know, we are getting there. You know, of course there are a lot to be achieved, but we are getting there. And then when you look at the fact that we are having now Tanzania back on board in good mutual understanding with Rwanda and also other countries, because, you know, when Tanzania is not happy for so many different reasons, that means now transportation becomes a problem, because they have a very good port, and, you know, now it becomes somehow difficult for a country like Rwanda and some others. And now, but the fact that now we have them on mutual understanding with now Kenya and Uganda, you know, Uganda, and now the elections now is over, and it's much better. And now the only problem right now is Burundi, of which I'm pretty sure that the entire bloc is trying to find out on what to do to make sure they bring back the security in the country and of course in the region. But again, now the fact that now South Sudan has joined, you know, it's going to boost the economy of East African community, because that oil now, after the structure, the political structure and the economical structure on the way on how to export that oil, and now the transportation will be a bit easier, and you know, the price of oil maybe in East African community might also be a bit cheaper, you see, and it will boost the economy. And when the security now in South Sudan comes in, now it will be, I mean, amazing. So for me, it's the best is yet to come, of course, but where we are, it's something we can smile of. We need to smile for that and cheer for it. But again, there are a lot to be done. That's what I believe.
Yvette, your final remarks on that?
I'm very excited. I mean, there are so many times I'll travel to like maybe Kenya, and if you don't have like a student pass or something, they would make you seem as if you're from Mars or something. You're like, I'm just from Rwanda, okay? It's not like I'm from, I don't know, West Africa or something. I'm not that far. We're East African. And I think it's very good that we're going to have an East African passport. But what I do believe should be done even before it's issued out next year, January, is that all the countries are sensitized, and they understand what it means to have the passport and what the benefits of having the passport, and also make sure that, you know, people are aware of this the East African integration, because there's so many people, like, you know, if you want to work in Kenya, all of a sudden no one knows that you can actually work there as a Rwandan without having to pay like a work permit or something like that. So people really need to be sensitized about this integration and also the issuing of the passport.
All right, the sensitization, I think, begins with us then.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thank you for joining me for that same conversation. And of course, for people at home, you can also join the conversation at Rise and Shine RW via Twitter. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. Business stories are coming up next with Yvette Shumbusho.
Flying has become such a breeze. With Rwanda, you'll save on money and time. Fly for as low as $249 to Entebbe, $280 to Mombasa, $305 to Nairobi, $329 to Dar es Salaam, $329 to Dubai, $505 to Accra, and take advantage of 35% discount to more destinations across Africa and the Middle East. For reservations, please dial 07881 700 or email reservations@rwandair.com or contact your preferred travel agents. You may also book and pay online via rwandair.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Business stories making headlines today. Money transfer services in Rwanda could be enhanced thanks to EcoBank's new money transfer service product. The Pan-African Bank has unveiled Rai money transfer services to boost efficiency across the country. According to Marie-Louise Murekatete, the head of electronic banking and remittance at EcoBank, the new product is an addition to the two existing transfer systems offered by the bank. Rai is a recognized financial transfer leader globally, bringing on board efficiency and price-friendly transfer services to the Rwandan market. The African Development Bank has launched the African Network of Centers of Excellence in Electricity in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. Stefan Naletembi, the African Development Bank Acting Vice President Operations in charge of infrastructure, emphasized the urgent need for Africa to address the human resource capacity gap in the energy sector with a focus of massive investment opportunities that exist. The energy sector in Africa has suffered from years of inadequate investments in infrastructure and human resources, particularly technicians, engineers and sector managers, creating a major threat to the sustainability of the sector. Bourbon Coffee Rwanda is set to open more coffee shops to boost consumption of locally produced coffee. Paul Maganda, the Bourbon Coffee Chief Operation Officer, said the move is aimed at boosting consumption of locally produced coffee. It is also expected to create more market for the Rwandan coffee in both regional and global markets. They are currently negotiating with other stakeholders to ensure that they expand to other parts of the country to serve their customers efficiently and diligently. You're now up to date with today's business headlines. Sports news coming in just a moment with Moses Virikonzira.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sport news. I am Moses Virikonzira. Starting with local football, Andre Kasambungo was satisfied as Police edged Musanze to stay fifth. Police FC defeated Musanze 2-1 in the National Football League on Friday at Kigali Regional Stadium to maintain fifth place and reduce the gap on leaders Mukula to 8 points. Striker Isai Songa and Idesbal Nchuti were on target for Andre Kasambongo's side, who moved to 24th points, one behind 4th place Lion Sport and 4 points adrift of Aisigari in second place. Defending champions APLFC at third with 27 points. Now in Premier League, Leicester City are running for something special after 1-0 victory over Watford on Saturday. Leicester City beat Watford to move 5 points clear at the top of the table as Riyad Mahrez scored his 15th Premier League goal of the season. After second place, Tottenham drew 2-2 with third place Arsenal. The Fox took a step closer to English football's most unlikely title win. Mahrez, who has scored or assisted 26 goals this season, was again the hero after scoring the only goal of the game. In other games, Chelsea drew 1-1 with Stoke City, while Manchester City thrashed Aston Villa 4-0. And finally, in La Liga, Cristiano Ronaldo stole the show with 4 goals, halftime goals, as Gareth Bale returned to notch during Real Madrid's 7-1 thrash to Celta Vigo. Cristiano Ronaldo scored 4 times as Real Madrid cruised to 7-1 victory over Celta Vigo to move within a point of second place Atletico Madrid. Ronaldo claimed his 5th hat-trick of the season to make his total to 39 goals. He struck 3 times in 15 minutes after the break, after Pepe had headed Leo into a 1-0 halftime lead. Iago Aspas pulled a goal back, but Ronaldo completed his treble and headed in 4th before Jeze and Gareth Bale on his comeback scored late on.
Well, Moses, they're unbeatable, unreversible.
Yeah.
Leicester City is proving to be indeed a Premier League threat.
Definitely.
Now, part of what is quite interesting about this is that at the same day, as they beat Watford, March day 29, Leicester City last year was last 20th, 19 points, and in a date of 21 goals.
Yeah.
Quite an interesting progress.
It's something. It's like unparalleled turnaround.
Absolutely.
I mean, you really cannot imagine. You know, at the same day like this you just mentioned. You know, it was match day 29. Leicester City, you know, they had only 19 points compared to 60 points they have now.
Absolutely.
That is more than almost 39 points.
What kind of manager has ever done that?
No one. That's why, you know, they are running for something special. You know, it's unthinkable. As you know, Claudio Ranieri is called the thinker man. You know, he's anyway someone who turns things around. As I said, you know, before he came to Leicester City, you know, he was sacked by Greece. He was the national team coach of Greece, and he was sacked. And now on the brink of being sacked to come and turn things around in a Premier League chase where every team, Manchester City, they've invested more than 200 million. Manchester United, 250 million. Arsenal, somehow 120 million. Chelsea, they've invested a lot of money, you know, and they were the defending champion. Tottenham, a lot of money was invested. But now Leicester City, you know, with the players worth, you know, the entire Leicester City squad is only 22 million pounds.
Can you imagine? With such a kind of a squad, you're beating out all these big foes with a lot of money.
And what makes me
interesting?
What makes me actually even think that there is you know, the Premier League has changed its image.
Absolutely.
Because Leicester City right now, they are composed, they are difficult to beat, and now the fact that N'Golo Kante has returned in the squad, you know, the last game they played, you know, they drew. And this time around, you know, they drew with the West Bromwich Albion 1-1. They were supposed actually to win the game, but unfortunately they drew. Now this time around, now the fact that they won the game and the Arsenal drew with Tottenham, the closest rivals, number 3 and number 2, you know, that makes it a boost. And now the fact that Man City now has, Man City has a game in hand. They have 50 points. If they win the game in hand, there will be 53 points, which means there will be 7 points behind. Now, when you are 5 points in front of Tottenham and you are 8 points ahead of Arsenal, you see, that makes you that you are a bit secure. Not very secure because there are about 9 games to play. But again, when you look at the way Leicester City plays from the attacking trio, you know, which we are talking about Valdi, Albrighton and Mahrez, and we go behind, there's Okazaki, there's N'Golo Kante, and you know, there's Drinkwater. And when you go behind, you see Huth and Morgan, you know, those are the players who are bit, you know, strong, composed, you know, who have passion and drive, you know. And you know, what Leicester City has today, no other Premier League team has it. Because that passion, that ambition, that drive, that willingness to give your body in line, there's no other team right now that has that.
One thing is for sure, Leicester City is going to play the Champions League next year.
It is for sure. Right now it's guaranteed because you only need about 41 to, you know, like basically when you have about 60 points, you are almost guaranteed to play the Champions League the following season. You know, and when you look at the way teams, because if you look at the teams which are on the 5th position, which is West Ham, they have now 49 points. Manchester United has 47 points. That means there's 13 points clear of Manchester United. You see, that means that they need to lose at least almost 4 to 5 games,
which is
in the next remaining 9 games, for them to be out of the competition, out of the Champions League space. So for them, Champions League is pretty guaranteed. But now they are looking for where can we finish? Can we finish first or second? That's their target.
All right.
No more of we need Champions League spot. No.
Now, of course, I'll move on. Of course, to the La Liga, one of the biggest, I think, games this season. Of course, Real Madrid beating Celta Vigo 7-1. And of course, the El Maestro, Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, as he's always showing out people, this had to be his fourth hat trick of the season.
No, this is his fifth hat trick of the season.
Amazing!
And part of those hat tricks now he has scored at least 3 to 4 goals. Actually, 4 times 4 goals and 1 time 5 goals
and
in one game.
He also broke up a record.
Definitely, now he moved to the second highest goal scorer in La Liga history, and he's the only player who has scored more goals than games he's played. Because when you look at the statistics, Ronaldo now in 228 games, he has scored 252 goals.
250 goals.
Which means it's 1.1 goal ratio per game. Which means there is no game that he goes out of the pitch without a goal, considering the statistics.
Amazing.
Considering with Messi, of whom we consider as the best player in the world, he has scored 305 goals in 337 games, which means he has a ratio of 0.91%.
Wow.
So, I mean, in every game. See, but he has not reached the margin of Ronaldo, of which he scores a goal 21 every single game he plays. That is a record, and for him,
that's the kind of striker
he's now the second all-time goal scorer after Messi, of course, and in beating people like Hugo Sanchez, Raúl González, people like Alfredo Di Stefano of Real Madrid. Now he's the Real Madrid icon. As far as we are concerned, in a very short span of years, since 2009 till now, scoring about 350 goals, career goals of Real Madrid. These goals we are talking about, these are La Liga goals, but they are total for Real Madrid has so far scored 350 goals. You see, that makes him actually one of the people of which is one of a kind of this generation.
We wrap up from there, one of a kind of this generation, and of course, people are saying, Cristiano gets stronger and stronger by the goalpost. He gets to bring in the goals every time.
Definitely, and part of the mission that Mourinho has when he's appointed the manager of Manchester United is to bring back Ronaldo home.
All right, people, we can see. Of course, the Reds are looking out to see if Cristiano can be back, of course, to Old Trafford the next season. We're yet to see, anyways. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. Local and international news are coming up next.
Flying has become such a breeze. With Rwanda, you'll save on money and time. Fly for as low as $249 to Entebbe, $280 to Mombasa, $305 to Nairobi, $329 to Dar es Salaam, $329 to Dubai, $505 to Accra, and take advantage of 35% discount to more destinations across Africa and the Middle East. For reservations, please dial 07881 700 or email reservations@rwandair.com or contact your preferred travel agents. You may also book and pay online via rwandair.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Let's take a look now at news making headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
Some Rwandans are currently running an online campaign on Google, petitioning the search engine to update images of Rwanda on their Japanese servers. According to Giovanni Ntagomba, a Rwandan postgraduate data science research student in Japan, Googling the word Rwanda in katakana, which is the Japanese characters, gives you content of the Rwandan 1994 genocide, which him and a number of the Rwandan youth and social media enthusiasts undermines development strides made by the government after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
The African Court of Human and People Rights has lost the extra jurisdiction to hear cases involving Rwanda after the government withdrew from the declaration that allows individuals or groups of individuals to file cases. The decision to withdraw from the declaration was reached after the genocide convict and fugitive secured a right to be heard under the guise of defending human rights of Rwandan citizens.
And in other news, Hassan al-Taribi, the Sudanese opposition leader who helped bring President Omar al-Bashir to power, has died at 84 in the capital Khartoum. A hospital source told the AFP news agency he had suffered a heart attack. Mr. Taribi was a key ally of Mr. Bashir when he took power in a coup in 1989, but they fell out a decade later. For the first decade of Mr. Bashir's rule, Mr. Taribi was the de facto leader of the country, and his influence spread beyond Sudanese borders.
And in international news, U.S. presidential hopefuls Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have maintained their status as frontrunners in the latest round of voting for their party's nominations. Despite defeats to Ted Cruz in Kansas and Maine, Republican Mr. Trump won in Louisiana and Kentucky. Other Republican contenders Marco Rubio and John Kasich made little progress. Mrs. Clinton lost to Bernie Sanders in the Democratic races in Kansas and Nebraska, but won in Louisiana.
Well, now it's time we take a look at what's hot right now in our daily debate section, Hot Topics. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. You're just in time for your lifestyle update with me, Yvette Shumbusho. Have you ever sat down to watch television and an obstacle course airs from a different country, say from England, and instantly you're interested? Well, many a times I wish I could participate. And if you feel the same way, well, Waka Fitness has the solution for us. On March 19th, Waka Fitness will hold an obstacle course called the Warriors Race Battle. So before we discuss it, I would like you to take a look at what we compiled for you. To shed more light on this is Dennis, the co-founder of Waka Fitness. Welcome.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Very well. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. So first of all, before we even get into a lot of the details with the Warrior Race, first of all, can you tell us just a bit about the obstacle course?
Well, as you were saying in the introduction, it's a race that actually exists all over the world.
Oh, okay.
And they're big. Like some of them, about 10,000 people actually participate. It's not the case this year. We want to start in a controlled way to make sure that we just do it as good as possible, as safe as possible. But this will be an obstacle course that has between 15 and 20 obstacles. And what is an obstacle? That's a typical question. On our Facebook page, you can go and actually see some images, and also in the video. I mean, you can see what they would be. So it is about climbing a wall, but you don't do it yourself. You do it, you know, in a team of either 2 or 4, so you're not alone in the race. But I can say that there will be something that is related to fire that you might have to jump through. There will be elements that will be very cold. You will most likely get quite dirty. But the good thing is everyone will go through the same thing. Everyone will be dirty, and there'll be great prizes. So it's worth getting dirty for.
Okay, so this will take part on March 19th.
Exactly.
Exactly where?
So Masaka Farms.
Oh, okay.
Have you been there before?
I've been to Masaka.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So it is the same area. It's not far from town, and it's a beautiful area with. The course is going to be around 1.5 kilometers. So for those that are worried that, oh, we're going to run far. No, that's not the case.
Yeah.
There will just be many, many obstacles within a short distance. Yeah.
Okay, and the specific directions will be communicated to the different participants?
Yeah, sure. So we have tried our best to, on our Facebook page, to have like frequently asked questions, to give all the guidance to how to get there, guidance on how to dress for the day.
That is another thing I actually wanted to
right?
ask you. Maybe we can tackle that.
Because many of my existing
question.
members that I work with, where we do our outside exercise, they had all planned to show up in their newest, like, sports gear and look all fancy. I was like, no. Like, for your own sake, don't do that. Wear something that is comfortable, good for exercise, that you don't mind in case it can't really get fully clean again, yeah.
Okay, so this is happening on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And given the fact that even moms and dads and all different ages will be participating. A Saturday is a time where you go for shopping and you have different errands to run, and the kids have to be with you. So do you have anything for the kids?
Oh, it's a great question. We wanted to make sure that this was not just an event for those participating. It will be a race with 300 people as a maximum, and people are allowed to bring their family, their friends or colleagues as well. So one of the main thing that we decided to do is to make something for kids as well. So there will be a safe little obstacle course for kids, which will be a lot of fun, also with prizes.
Good.
Because we also want to challenge them, and we want this to be an event not just for participants, but for everyone. It's a thing that everyone can go and see and experience and enjoy seeing 300 people covered in mud. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Okay, so from apart from the benefits of having fun and socializing and doing something out of the ordinary, what are other benefits that will come with this participating in the obstacle course?
I mean, we know that there are several companies, for instance, that has signed up, and they see it as a way of doing team building. So imagine if you are, let's say, any random company that signs up a team of 4 or 8 people, the stories they will have to they can talk about for the next 6 months will be great. I mean, and something that they haven't experienced before. So that's a benefit I would recommend, like most companies, to sign up just for that reason. And for the other individual groups that are not part of a company, who wouldn't want to go to Dubai? I mean, those are the prices.
Oh, wow, okay.
We have good prices.
That's it, we don't need anything else.
Okay,
We just
exactly.
Now that we know it's Dubai, everyone is going to be participating. Oh, that is great.
Yeah.
So you told me when we were talking before that there's going to be an MC, there's going to be a DJ, and so there's going to be live music and food.
Food, music, entertainment, and now we still have another 2 weeks to add extra things to it, and every day, and it's been almost a beautiful experience to set this up, because the amount of companies that has come and said we'd like to support you in this, or just volunteers or creative people saying we can do this, may we help you. So I know over the next 2 weeks it's going to be even better than it already is now, and I think personally that it's quite impressive what is going to happen on the day. So I'm very, very thrilled.
Yeah. And we're very excited also.
Good.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing as well. Oh, actually, before we actually finish up, there's a detail that I think is very important, and that's the price. How much is it to participate?
Yeah, and related to that, where do I sign up?
And where do you sign up? Definitely.
Yeah. So again, on Facebook, it will all be there on our Facebook page.
And that's Waka Fitness.
Waka Fitness Africa, yeah.
Africa, good.
There's an event page. But for those that are listening now, then I want you to sign up. I mean, you don't want to miss out on this one. Just show up at Waka at Papyrus Building in Kimihurura. For a team, let's say the two of you, you and I, we wanted to sign up. That would be 20,000, so 10,000 each, and we each get a T-shirt for that.
Okay.
But if we were a team of 4, it's only 35,000, so less. And it's not per person, 35,000 for 4 people.
4 people.
And you all get T-shirts and the chance to win great prizes. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, well, now you know. Mark your dates.